We are only one game into the season and it's all kicked off already. They're in meltdown for losing. Nick Walsh, the referee, gives his verdict on the Celtic penalty that should have been at the weekend, allegedly. Celtic and Rangers, Chris Sutton has slapped down one of his cheerleaders for Sevco advisories, and James Bisgrove, the Rangers hierarchy, are adamant. They're adamant that they're taking tickets for Celtic Park. Carl Starfelt, Matt O'Reilly, is sad that he's losing his best mates. And the Celtic manager also tells us and explains why Rio Hatate was left out at the weekend. That is all in this morning's Celtic news. It is Monday morning. What a start to the season we've had already. We're 3 points ahead of them already. I'm wanting it so that when we get to the 3rd of September, that when we beat them on the 3rd of September, we go 9 points clear. I want us at least 12 points clear the time October comes. Just to really rub salt into the wounds of Moleface. Anyway, let's get back to Nick Walsh before we talk about Chris Sutton and the Rangers hierarchy that are demanding of Celtic. Chris Sutton has basically told one of his little cheerleaders for Rangers. He was asked, he said, is the title over already? And Sutton was having none of it and told his co-presenters to stop being silly. So who am I talking about? Yep, the one and only Robbie Savage. Robbie Savage actually did ask this, the first game of the season, and obviously they got beat down in Kilmarnock. Celtic won 4-2, and Robbie Savage asked him on the radio, he says, is the title race over, Chris? And Chris went, don't be silly, have a bit of respect. He was having none of it. Having absolute none of it. The fact that we're 3 points clear already, I think that we're just going to go on and get stronger. Ross County were saying that we were poor the first 15 minutes. New game of the season. I did predict before a ball was even kicked. I says, after flag day, it always takes about 15-20 minutes for the team to get up to speed because they are concentrating on that. They aren't focused on the game. They've done their pre-match warm-up, and then they've got to sort of deal with the flag stuff. Where you watch the Ross County players, they're still focused on the game. They're not getting carried away with all the excitement and putting to bed the celebrations of last season. That is the celebrations for winning the treble last year. Done and dusted. It's out the way. We go again. We get back to work. And I've got to say, in the first 15 minutes, it was a bit of hard work. But Chris was asked, is the title race over already? By the nut job and cheerleader for Sevco. And he said, look, Rangers lost on a difficult pitch. Celtic won. It's as simple as that. He says to him, you're not really going to go there, are you? In the first game of the season. Savage again once asked, is the title over? Come on, Savage. Nobody's going to say that. I can remember a certain time where Sevco come October and the old Rangers were 10 points in front. And Celtic went and won on the league that season. Talking about everything Sevco. Sorry it's about them this morning, but they are demanding. James Bisgrove is demanding that they never surrender. But you surrendered the first game of the season. Celtic are expected to knock back the 700 tickets for the game due to safety concerns. They have come out and said, Rangers have come out and said, the Sevco have come out and said that basically they'll add extra stewards and extra police going into the game. So as an away day experience, he's saying that having 700 fans there is great for the game. It's great for the Old Firm experience. Well, the Old Firm died in 2012, so unless you've got... He says, it's a showpiece fixture. It's not a showpiece fixture anymore. You killed it 5 years ago when Celtic were absolutely running rampant and you had 7,500 Celtic fans singing consistently because we were beating you. Your club 1872 or whatever the hell it is of fans group were upset about this. They made demands on the club to reduce the away allocation, and that was it. The final two derbies of last season were obviously played without any visiting punters. Sevco went on and said, our belief as a club, and certainly mine as the chief executive, is that away fans add so much to football, the colour and the vibrancy, no matter the game. Come on, you have the smallest away fan allocation in the league. You are at it. And Yes, and the fact that you keep on and what remember, was it last year or the season before, and they had that stupid fake tunnel thing. This is the old firm. And then we go and beat them, and then they throw the old firm thing. It was spotted in the bucket about 10 minutes after the game was finished. Anyway, they're saying it is, in terms of a positive stadium atmosphere and spectacle worldwide, you've ruined the spectacle worldwide when you've crapped it. When you've absolutely crapped it and reduced the allocation. Put the allocation back up to 7,000 and we'll call it quits. But there's a lot of Celtic fans that would be glad to never see you back in the stadium again. I think it has had an adverse effect. They have went on to say that we will give Celtic the 700/750 that we have made available over the last 4 or 5 years. And why did you reduce the allocation again? Go and remind us in the comments. The conversation that we need to have with Celtic in terms of what they want to do. We believe that away fans should be at matches. So yes, we would want Rangers fans to be at Parkhead in December. It's never going to happen. It's absolutely never going to happen. Celtic should just tell them. But Rangers are willing to go to the SFA. God, just coming this side. They're willing to come to the SFA and demand that Celtic give them the tickets. So, ram it. Anyway, Matt O'Reilly. Let's get on to Matt O'Reilly because we went on about them for far too far. Matt O'Reilly's been an important player for Celtic. Some players say, yeah, Matt O'Reilly can go through a game and folk are like, he's absolute garbage. And then he'll come out with a cross that's absolutely unbelievable. He'll come out with a run, or pretty much he could maybe even score a goal like he did at the weekend. But he's a bit sad. He's a bit sad, is Matt, because he's losing all his friends. He says, me and Carl and Jota were quite close. The trio has been destroyed. And then there was one. Oh, let's all have a big for Carl. And he was obviously just, not for Carl, for... not for Carl. Carl's got a way to live the life of O'Reilly. Hey! O'Reilly said that he's upset. He says, I've been good friends here, so don't worry. I don't feel sorry for myself, jokingly he said. We had a really good group. And it's football. I'm happy for him. I hope that he moves and he does well. You know, he is moving for personal reasons. We all know the fact that he wants to be closer to his missus. And fair play to him. You couldn't go to a better country in the world to play football, if you ask me personally. But then let's find out about Rio Hatate. Because another midfield player at Celtic, Rio Hatate, found himself in an unfamiliar place at the weekend. It's on the bench, and there would be absolutely no chance of that happening if the old manager was still here. The fact is that Brendan Rodgers has come in and said that everyone has a clean slate. There's no favourites. I have no favourites, apart from Cal McGregor, who he went to his hotel and had lunch with him before he got the job. And Greg Taylor keeps on winding him up about that, the fact that he is the special one. Anyway, I hope he took him an apple when he went to lunch with him. Just joking, obviously. Brendan Rodgers says that players have to convince him that they're worth starting. And he says it was a surprise for many to see David Turnbull's face, but he insisted he's there on merit pre-season. He says when it comes to it, it was a clean slate for everyone. They all had a chance. We watched the players in pre-season. He's a lot more mature now, he said about David Turnbull, and he's been excellent pre-season. When you look at Hatate, he maybe hasn't been to the same standard. He said, like I've said, it doesn't really matter. You move forward. It's about drawing the line under it. The first game of the season, it says to keep players hungry, you have to let them know that they aren't untouchable regarding the starting 11. So for me, I hope it does the exact same thing that it did to Greg Taylor when Ange Postecoglou comes in. I hope it makes Hatate go, right, I'm going to have to work harder and training and be a better player, and I hope it then takes him to the next level, because if it takes Hatate to the next level, we have got one hell of a player on our hands. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic at times, but then there's times where he can give the ball away silly, and I think that's the whole reason that Turnbull got into the team. It'll be interesting to see what kind of week that Rio has in training, if he finds himself back in the team for Pittodrie next week. That's going to be some away game. That it's going to be a harder test than it was at the weekend. So tell me your thoughts in the comments about Rio Hatate being benched at the weekend. How do you think he will respond? Tell me what you think about Matt O'Reilly feeling left and all alone and sad because his two best mates have gone. And all by myself. Anyway, the South Koreans are demanding that Celtic get tickets for Celtic Park. Chris Sutton slaps down the one and only Robbie Savage, and the referee from the weekend says there was a little bit of contact but not enough for the penalty, and the Ross County player basically said, look, we could have won the game in the first 15 minutes. And then Celtic turned up and started playing football. So on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party.